Hey guys, it's Melissa with Web of Creativity, and this video is a construction video for the Accordion Deluxe Mini Album. And this is, I'm using Graphic 45's Tropical Travelogue paper collection. Oops. With all the beautiful papers, and then it comes with stickers and chipboard sets for this collection, and I have kits available on my blog at www.webofcreativity.net. So let's go ahead and open the album. So we're going to start off on the left side with the cover with this cute little mini book. It's it says Tropical Travelogue. In the tutorial, if you don't use this paper, I have the dimensions to make this cute little guy. So, and the paper collection has these little cards in it that I cut out to make this cute little book. I'm going to tie it real quick, and then you can see some of the dies that I used for the flowers and the bird. So I've shown these on my preview video, but I'm just going to show you again. It's the Sizzix Tropical Tim Holtz die. It has the tiki masks and the leaves that I used. And then for the flowers, I used the Sizzix Tropical banner along with the birds too. You can see that I have my birds right here. They're so cute. And so you can see how that it's an accordion type album. Has pockets and flaps. So we're going to start off with pulling out our tag first, and then it pulls out. So we got a little accordion for the top, and then if you wanted a place for an additional tag, you can do that too. But the tag holds our pages in. And then we have a pocket page, and then another, and then we repeat with another pocket and mini accordion. So these papers are absolutely gorgeous. Look at the colors, the blues, the greens, so pretty. And then we have just a matte area. So you can put some big photos, some small photos, and then it goes back to the pockets and the mini accordion page. Then we can go to the other side, which is another pocket and accordion and another layout. And then we can pull this all the way out, and then we have a little miniature one in the back. And these can hold 4x6 pictures. So this is absolutely beautiful, and then you can pull it all the way out so you can see how of an accordion it is. So in this video, we're going to work on building the whole album, including the cover, matting everything, putting the pages together, making the tags, making this cute little booklet here. And then for this is a second video. My first video is a Tiki Hut video, which is the Tiki Hut that in the back is where you put your album. So that's another video on my YouTube channel. All the links are below. The kit and the written tutorial are on my blog, www.webofcreativity.net. Thank you for watching. So it's time to work on the cover of the album, and we have 5 pieces here. So we got our side spine pieces, our back, our front, and our front. So I'm going to put our 2 fronts over to the side, and we're going to start with our first cover piece, and the largest piece of cardstock. I already added tape to my chipboard pieces, and then I'm going to add just a little bit more with my ATG. And I like to have about 5/8 overhang. So I'll have 5/8 from the top, the bottom, and the side. So that's our first piece. Then I'm going to grab my spacer. My spacer is 2 pieces of chipboard, butt up against the edge of your attached chipboard to your next piece, and you're going to line up so they're even from the top and bottom and spaced out 2 chipboard lengths. Now, the reason for the 2 chipboard lengths is when you fold your album, this is enough space that gives it that leeway to fold it without cracking. You may experience some cracking with certain papers, even with this spacing, but you shouldn't with this. This is a heavyweight cardstock. And I forgot to mute my phone. Okay, so okay, so I am going to remove my tape backing. Grab my spacer, and I'm going to have it even to the top and bottom of the first piece of chipboard and lay it down. Alright, so this is the front cover, the side, and this is a partial back piece. And I did put tape on the back, which I'm going to have to modify because I forgot it's not going to go through the whole, it's not going to cover the whole piece. So I'm going to add tape to just the very edge, about leaving that 5/8 gap from the top and bottom. Alright, so when I remove my tape, I made my markings. So when you do this, don't add your tape to part of the side. So I'm going to remove my tape backing. It's not perfect, but it'll work. Then I'm going to add some extra adhesive. And remove my tape. Oh, my finger got stuck. Remove my tape. Grab my spacer. And again, I'm going to line it from the top and bottom. Okay, then we're going to work on the other side. Alright, so for the next cover piece, we have our front cover and our side. They are similar in sizes, so make sure you grab the right piece. And this is going to be the front cover. And we're going to attach it. The same way as we did the first piece, which is having that 5/8 overhang. Okay, then we're going to take our side piece with our spacer. And make sure your spacers butt up against your first piece of chipboard and lined top to bottom. So next we need to connect this piece and this piece together. So one, I want a piece of tape on the cardstock flush against the edge, coming short the top and bottom for that 5/8 inch gap. Now, oops, nope, I need it full length because it's going to attach to the cardstock. Okay, just checking to see if I need to add any more tape or not. I think I'm going to add a small piece of 1/4 inch tape along the edge of the cardstock on the first piece. Alright, that should be plenty of tape. Okay, yeah, it will be. Okay, get my spacer. Make sure my spacer's flush. So making sure my chipboard is even, top and bottom, the best I can. Because if the cardstock isn't, that's fine. It's just going to get flipped over. So that's alright if that's not even. It's my chipboard that I'm going to need even. Okay. It's getting there. Alright, so next we're going to trim our corners. Using our craft knife. Now I'm going to measure from the edge of the corner of your chipboard to 1/8 inch on the Tim Holtz ruler. It's the first dashed line on the ruler is 1/8. So let me see if I can zoom. Wrong direction. Okay, so we get 1/8 inch at an angle. It doesn't have to be a perfect angle, just as long as it's 1/8 inch. And there we go. And if it's a little bit more, that's fine too. It's when it becomes a little less that when you fold your paper, that corner might show. One-eighth inch on the ruler, and then cut the corner. Okay, I'm going to do the other two. Alright, now that all four corners are cut, we're going to go ahead and tape. Okay, we're going to go ahead and tape around the edges of the chipboard and make sure it's flush against the edge. So I'm using score tape, 3/8 inch tape. When we add this, we're going to skip the openings. So we're not going to continuously place our tape down. So we're going to cut where the chipboard ends. And we're going to continue all the way around. Alright, now that the edges have tape around them, we're going to take a bone folder or a scorer, and we're going to go around the edge of your paper and chipboard. This is going to give it a little bit of a score, and it's going to help when we wrap our paper around. Okay. Now I have my bone folder. This one's more of this one's a scorer. This one's for flat edge, which is perfect when you're working on your paper. You can lightly fold it up with your hands and then take the bone folder and rub it across the edge. This is going to help when you are wrapping. So we're going to just wrap two sides first. So again, we're going to roll it with our hands first, then our bone folder, I like running it against the bone folder because it makes that edge flat and smooth. Alright, next we're going to tuck in the corners. Oops. So the corner, you have a little corner piece, and you can take your fingernail or your bone folder and you're just going to press it in. So you're tucking that corner in. This side has more paper, so you might be able to see it a little bit more better. So you can see that I'm just, tucking the corner in, pressing it down. That way when this comes up, you are tuck that corner in. Makes it a lot smoother corners when you're done. So next, we're gonna attach our two other sides. So I'm just gonna press it with my fingers and then go. Now when I'm rubbing this across, I skip over the side, the spaces, because it doesn't have anything to catch the bone folder. So you might, if you're pressing hard, you might get that indented in that corner, and that's not what you want. So it's just where the chipboard can meet the bone folder. Skip the spaces. Okay, so we are going to so I'm going to start in the middle. Again, skip over the gaps, because at this point, if you don't, it's just going to go inward. It might even rip your paper, and you don't want that. Okay, and then we'll do our other side. Okay, starting from the middle outward. Now the toughest point to push down is where it's a double cardstock. Jump over those gaps. And there we go. Now we can mat the inside, and then we have our inside cover piece to mat as well. Next we're going to do the inside cover. So I have a large sheet to attach, and then just a little sheet to attach. This piece doesn't get fully covered because it's going to have a piece of chipboard on top of it. So it doesn't need to be covered, but we do need to make sure that the joint right here is covered. So before we attach that, we need to make sure this is all taped up. So what we're going to do is we want to make sure the tape is on both sides of the gap, flush to the chipboard. This makes it so when you fold your cover, that your paper doesn't pop up on that edge right there. So all those pieces need to be taped, and then we're going to tape it just shy of about a ½ inch from the top and bottom, and that's because our paper that gets attached on the inside is already going to have tape around the edges, so you don't need to double tape. So you see how the tape's already on the edges, so there's already going to be tape there, so you don't have to put an extra piece of tape. So again, you're going to just go flush against the edges, and start about a 1/2 inch spacing from the top and bottom. Alright, now I'm going to add some extra tape for security. So I'm going to go ahead and add a piece in the middle here. And I'm going to be adding some of my ATG as well in between the spaces with no tape. Okay, keep in mind that when you're taping this piece, that your paper is not going to cover the whole section. So you want your tape on the inside of where that paper is going to stop at. So if you see your paper can be about here. So I got my tape on the inside line of the inside paper. Alright, now we're going to remove the tape. I'm going to leave my last two pieces because that's for the smaller piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to add just a couple of swipes of the ATG. And remove the tape backing of our largest inside cover piece. Alright, so this is going to get attached so the border is about 1/8 inch. So you're going to have a 1 inch space all around. Alright, then our last little piece that's taped, we're just going to overlap a little bit on this side, probably about 1/4 of an inch, and then attach. So again, I'm just eyeballing about 1/4 of an inch in. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and fold gently, holding the paper to the inside, making sure it creases nicely. Now it's going to be a little stiff because my cardstock is pretty thick. Alright, it's coming along nicely. So now we need to work on this piece right here. So we have our chipboard piece and our cover paper. So this piece I think I labeled as like the inside cover piece maybe. And I'm going to add some ATG. This is going to go right in the middle, so it's going to have about a 5/8 inch overhang. And just like how we covered our cover, we're going to trim the corners using our ruler, measuring 1/8 inch, and then trim them off. Then we're going to add our tape around the edges. Get our scorer and run it against the edge of the chipboard. We're going to fold 2 sides first. We're going to tuck in the corners just by pushing the paper inwards. And then attaching the other two sides. Okay. Then we're going to need to cover just a part of this piece. So this is going to get attached. The reason why it's folded is so we know where to put it. So we're going to attach it just a little bit high so it doesn't get caught when it gets folded. And we'll need to cover this with some paper. Let me cut a piece of paper for that. Alright, so I cut a piece that's going to go on the right side with the 1/8 inch border around. I'm going to add a little extra ATG to it. And again, attaching with a 1/8 inch border. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with adding a piece of tape to my edge. And then I'm going to add a piece of tape to my other edge. So when it gets attached, it's going to be like that. I'm just measuring where my tape is going to be at. That looks good. Alright, it's time for our pages. So we have 3 pieces for our main page. So I've already scored them, but everything for scoring is in the tutorial. The tutorial can be found on my blog, www.webofcreativity.net. So how this went is we have your first score line is this 1/2 inch, which is our tab, and then we have here's like 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. So this is in the middle of the page, this is on the edge of the page. So our page piece is right here in the middle. So I'm gonna get folding on the score lines. And if you have trouble, you can always use your ruler to help folding. So if one, because this is an accordion, so if one fold is inside, then the next fold needs to be outside. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this one. I think the end one, or the first one, will probably be a little bit of the hardest. So now you can start seeing a little bit of that accordion style, that Z shape. So our next page is folded the same way, and this little tab's going to get attached to the larger piece, and it's just going to keep going. So I'm not done with this page. What I'm going to do is taper the corners. So from the score line, we're going to cut at an angle. So from the score line, cut at an angle. And since this piece is going to attach to our page, I'm going to go ahead and add tape to it. Alright, so that's our one piece. Let's grab the next piece. So I'll show you with the ruler. Has a flat edge. Well, for Tim Holtz has the flat edge and then a metal edge. So you'll use that flat edge. You'll hold it. It's hard to see with black. And then you have your second piece. So that's going to go on the inside. This one will go on the outside. And we're going to taper the corners and add our tape. So we have two pieces. So you can see how this tab is going to attach. And alright, we have one more piece to do. Alright, now that we have our three pieces, we're going to attach. So I want to attach our tab to our page, and we're going to line it up. I'm going to flip this. So then I can line it up towards the score line. I can use my score line as the guide, and then just attach it. So again, using the score line as the guide, there we go. Alright, attaching our last page. Following the score line and making sure it's even top to bottom. So now it's starting to look more like an accordion. Now our last piece right here is going to get attached to the inside back cover of our album. Okay, so next we have our page accessories. So we have a flap and a pocket. So our pocket's pretty simple. It has 3 score lines to equal 3 tabs. So we're going to fold on the tabs. And taper our corners. Now when it comes to the bottom corners to taper, you have this square piece because of the fold lines. So we're going to taper at an angle on the side up to that center point. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And now we're going to add our tape. So the tape is going to go on the outside of the tabs. So the tabs fold inwards. Outside, and then the tabs fold inwards. And then it gets attached to the bottom of our page. You know how I like to set pieces on before actually attaching. So I'm going to remove the tape backing of the 2 sides first and then attach my bottom piece to the tabs. So this pocket is going to get attached flush to the bottom. Now our front piece, make sure that the flap is to the right. So that's going to be our front piece. And our last tab is on the right to attach to the album. So it's flush to the sides and the bottom. There we go, and then makes us a pocket. Alright, now it's time to add our flaps. So we have 2 pieces. One has just 1 score line in the middle, so you're just going to fold that. And our second piece has 2 tabs. So one's going to get folded one direction, and the next one's going to get folded in the opposite direction. And then these corners are going to get tapered. So again, you're going to cut from the score line up at an angle. And then we're going to add our tape. So they're going to get taped in opposite directions too. So one piece gets taped that gets folded behind, and that's going to get attached to the page. And then this piece is going to get taped on the opposite side, and it'll get attached to your other flap piece. So again, you're going to fold opposite and then tape opposite. Alright, so this guy gets attached to the top of the page, and this guy's going to get attached to this one. So this is a little bit of an accordion as well. So with that, I'm going to flip over. Gonna use the score line like I did the other time to attach. Make sure it's even with the top and bottom, and you don't go over that score line. So that's how we're gonna have it. Alright. And I'm gonna run my bone folder to get these folds creased out good. Alright, now we're going to attach to the top, flush to the top, like so. So I'm going to turn this around so I can see it a lot better. So I remove the tape backing, fold it under, and then line it to the edge, to the top, evenly. And there is our piece. So now we have our accordion flap, our pocket, and our tag. Alright, that's the front side of page 1. Time to do the back. Okay, for our back piece, we're going to have a strap. So I just did a tab for the strap, and then we fold on the score line and taper the corners, and then add the tape. I also punch the corners, so I use my 1/4 inch corner rounder. This is Crocodile from We Are Memory Keepers. So I'm going to use my 1/4 to round the corners, and then with the pocket piece, it's just like the other pocket where we're going to fold on the score lines. Taper our corners. And add our tape. Alright, so here's our pocket. Now, I'm actually not going to attach this. So for the back, we'll have the strap that goes in the middle, and then our pocket that gets attached right above the score line, and even from top to bottom. But this doesn't get attached yet until it's matted, because once it's matted, then we cut our slit. So cutting the slit and attaching it now before attaching the mat is practically impossible. So I did make the piece, but it needs to be matted with our paper and then cut the slip before attaching to the page. So that's our page 2. I mean, that's the back side of our page 1, and here's our page 1. Next is to mat everything so we can finish attaching the back side of the page. Then we're just going to repeat for both sides until we get to the back of the album, which will be something else. Alright, we're going to mat the covers. So we're going to start with matting the outside cover, and then before we get to the inside cover, attaching our clip, our latch. So I've already cut out the pieces, and I've inked the edges. So we got 4 pieces. We got 5 pieces. So we have the front cover, the 2 sides, and then the front cover. So now I did cut them so they're all they all go with each other, and then I shuffled them. So I've already taped all my pieces. And then I'm going to add some extra ATG to it. So our first piece is going to be our front cover. And my ATG, which I moved. Okay. And then before I attach, no, this should be good. So I'm going to move this so I can see it. What I'm going to do is I wanted to have make sure it lines up correctly, a 1/8 inch border all the way around. So I'm going to start about there. Looks good. And then getting my matching piece for the back here. Also the front, depending on how you look at it. I'm going to add another ATG line for that. And one-eighth inch border. Alright, looks good. Okay, then we got our 2 middle pieces. I've already jumbled my pieces up. Okay. So I'm just removing the tape backing, adding a strip of ATG, and I'm actually going to fold it. It's so I can see the edges a lot better, and I can center it, and I definitely want that 1/8 inch border. And it to be straight. Alright, there's that piece. Oh. And then our back piece is this nice pretty blue. Make sure I cut it. Cut it good. All right. Okay, 1/8 inch top and bottom, sides, and then we're going to attach okay, so now that that front is all covered, we are going to attach our latch. So I'm gonna cut this. We're going to measure the center and then mark where our brads are going to go. And of course we want our latch to be flush. And then I have We Are Memory Keepers bulky tool is what I'm calling it. I don't know the actual name. And I'm going to poke out the holes. So now we got 2 holes. I've got some small brads. I need to get some bigger ones. Alright, I got my long fasteners. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure the brads are turned so they're parallel. And then use the other end of the pokey tool to open the brads and push it down. So now we got it flush and the brads attached. And we need to do the other side. So the other side will line up. Oops. Make sure my book is lined up. My piece is lined up. I need another set of hands. I'm just poking my holes for my brads. Try not to poke yourself. I've done that before. Oops. Sometimes the brad legs are a little apart. So when you put it in there, you put one in first and then squeeze the other one in. Alright, that, oops, looks straight. That looks straight. So I'm holding the brad from one side and then using the brad separator. I don't actually know what that's the official term for that, but that's what I'm calling it. Oops. And that looks good. All right. Alright, so next we're going to do our inside support piece that goes here. And first I'm going to cover a little piece that's going to show. It's going to get attached, but we're going to have a show a piece. So we're going to attach our mat first. That's going to be 1/8 border. And then we are going to add our tape. I'm just rubbing my fingernail around the brad. I want to make sure my tape is sticking to it. So I got my edge on my album, and then I'm doing the edge on my support piece. Then I'm going to line them up to see where else I'm going to tape. So this guy is going to face like this. So I'm just checking about my tape placement. Then we will attach. When we attach, we're going to leave a space. So when this lifts up, it doesn't catch. So we want to make sure we do have that space. I'm going to guesstimate about 1/8 inch is what I think is a good amount. Alright, and then of course I'm going to add an extra strip. Alright, for me to get a good view, I'm going to make sure that the top and bottom are even with the top and bottom, and going to leave that 1/8 inch space so it can close easy from that score line, or crease, from the crease. Make sure I'm getting it even. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. All right. Oops. So there's that space that I left so it can fold upwards without getting caught. And then it gives it some more stability for the closure so that it doesn't cave in or poof out as much. And then you also got an extra area to decorate. Okay, so then we got our matting to do for the inside, and I'm going to add my tape over these brads. Just to make sure my tape is covering them so they don't move around. The harder ones are the ones that are close to the edge because it's going to pop that paper up a little bit. So we want to make sure they are as flat as they can get. Okay. Alright, so for the inside, I got this green paper. We're going to attach with a 1/8 inch border. Adding some ATG. Now I have, making sure it's, oh, don't tell me okay, making sure that it's all matchy-matchy. 1/8 inch border. Alright. Then we'll do our inside side piece. It's easy to get the papers rotated when you're taking off the tape or adding something, so I need to make sure it's the right one. And I'm going to turn this so I get a better view. I'm going to do that 1/8 inch border. Inside. Alright. Then we have this guy. I'm leaving this open at the moment, so I'm skipping it. I'll use another paper. I'm turning this again so I can get a better view. Okay, and lastly, might have got my tape. I think I got my tape too close to the edge. Alright. Yep. Oh, this one's harder to see because it's not flat. Oh, no. Alright, I'll try it this way. I got more spacing on the inside, but at this moment, I don't really want to move the paper over because of those brads. There's the inside, there's the outside. Alright, moving right along. Alright, we are going to mat our pages. So I cut out all my paper for the mat. So I have our accordion front and back sheets, our pocket, and then behind the accordion. I've decided to use my stub punch for the corners. This is a Crocodile We Are Memory Keepers corner punch. So I'm going to use my stub, and that needs to be emptied out. And then yep, stub punch all my corners. not going to make you sit through all of them. I'm just going to do a couple. Remove my tag here. That looks cute. Once they're all punched, we're going to go ahead and ink them. I have Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. I like the oxide color. It gives it's more of a brown than the regular vintage photo. So it goes well with the papers, especially this paper. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do black ink, but I really like the brown ink. And I usually don't overly ink things. I just like to give it a little outline and a little color, and then to take off the white edge. So I'm going to, off camera, finish punching all of my edges and then inking everything, and then come back and matte the front, and then we'll go ahead and work on the back that needs some extra since we haven't attached our pockets yet. Okay. Alright, so I finished using my stump corner punch on all my pages. I inked all my mats. And just like everything else, we're going to have a it is hard to see this border, a 1/8 inch border. Now there's a question that goes around often about whether you mat your pages before you put them in the album. And I mat mine first because once it's in that album, you're constantly opening it and closing it, and sometimes it's easier. I mean, this thing's one piece, but when you have one page working on it, it's a lot easier to move it around and get a good angle, make sure everything's attached right. Paper's coming out because I already cut all my mats, and they're very loose. I did not paper clip them. So it's easier to mat first. And the worry, of course, is what if I put my page in wrong? And then, you know, you have all that matting that you did. I put this on the wrong piece. I cut my papers so they line up when you pull it down, and I attached my first one last. Let's see if I can undo that. Alright, so the good thing about using ATG is you can get the paper off. I use a spatula, especially when I haven't, run a bone folder over it again. I'm going to run just a couple of passes with my ATG just in case that stickiness wore off a little bit. And I'm going to attach it in the right place. There we go. Oh, so like I was saying, it's easier to mat your pages first, even though even I've had the worry of if I put my page in wrong, it's kind of stuck. So you just got to be really careful. pay attention, not talk to an audience to distract you, or do a video, and you always have other things to help you if your page does get stuck. If you don't press down on it or use a bone folder, you can always try the spatula, which I have gotten a page up using my spatula. There is a product called Undo you can use as well. When you use Undo, your stickiness does go away, so you need to retape whatever it is after everything has dried. Alright. Let's see, now that looks good. If I kept that piece down there, it wouldn't flow. Of course, you don't have to use the same paper. I just happen to be doing that. Sorry about that. Now I am using my ATG as opposed to tape. One, ATG is faster and I do like it. Tape I do believe is more sturdy. So if I had more time, I'd use tape. I actually don't have a problem with any of my albums using the ATG. Some people do. It could have to do with where you're from or the weather. But if you're definitely going to have some heavy stuff attached to it, not just pictures, I would definitely do tape. There's that piece. And then lastly, I got my background. Okay, that looks really good. Then I still gotta mat my tag. Alright, so I have for this side, we got our strap piece and our pocket piece. Now for this guy, which I still have to ink, before we attach our pockets, we need to cut a little slit in there for our strap, because our strap just kind of goes in there to keep our tags from falling out. So we're going to mat this first, and then cut a little slit in it. I guess we can, yeah, I think I'm going to stub punch these as well. Might as well stick with the theme. ink our edges. So let me ink my edges. Alright, for the pocket piece, we are actually going to use tape because we're going to be cutting into the paper. I should have used my 1/4 inch tape, which is fine. Grab that. And then where we're going to cut our slit, we're going to want tape there so the paper doesn't come up. I'm going to draw my 1 inch down and about, oops. I'm not even on camera. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find our center point, which I love Tim Holtz ruler because you can find your center point. You can go 1 inch down from the top. I'm drawing my line 3/4 from the left and 3/4 from the right, and that's where I want to add my tape. I'm going to use my thicker tape, 3/8 inch or a 1/2 inch, either one would be good. And remember that this is my top part, so okay. Then like always, a 1/8 inch border, and I did 1 inch from the top of this, not the top of this. Tape should still cover it. Oh yeah, the tape will definitely still cover it. Good. That's why I use the thicker tape. Alright, I'm going to do my 1/8 inch border. And get out my craft mat. My craft ruler. I'm going to mark first where I'm going to cut. Go 1 inch down. And this one is going to be, because your slit is 1 1/4 inch is your slit. So you're going to go from the, if it's a Tim Holtz ruler, you're going to go from your circle over to 5/8 on both sides, and that's going to equal your 1 1/4 that you need. This is, it's really hard to see. Let me just zoom that in. Okay, so I'm measuring it 1 inch down from the circle, or 0. We're going to go 7/8 and 5/8 inches over. So that is a 1/2 inch plus the 1 niche. So you're going to use your line 5/8 inch over and 5/8 inch over. So again, zoom in. Okay, 5/8 is the notch right after your 1/2 inch. Or you can just count your 1/8 inch pieces. So you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let me zoom back out. And we're going to do 2 cuts. So your first cut, speaking of your 2 cuts, we need 2 lines. So we're going to use that exact line. I'm not going to do a second measurement. I'm just moving my ruler a little over to the left. I'm going to draw another line parallel. And it's not even 1/8, it's probably a 1/16. And I probably chose the wrong paper, but you can see it. You can see it. You can see this line and this line. It's not that much, because you don't need it that much, because only a piece of paper is going through it. So start from my top. I really should change my blade. It has no tip on it. My tip broke. And I can't see my line. I'm marking where I'm going to stop. This paper is just a little hard to see. And because my blade needs to be changed, I'm going to have to do another pass. Because you are going through 2 pieces of paper. Okay, good, that worked. And then just move your ruler down to your second line. And then connect your 2 pieces. I do need a new blade. There's that. And then I will there we go. I'm going to erase my pencil line. Kind of wondering if I can get my ink in there. I can. So I'm just pushing it back. To ink it a little bit. There we go. Yeah, when you do that, make sure your tip of your craft knife is not broken. Or we'll replace those as soon as I can. Okay, so my next piece is I want to attach my strap even. I'm going to measure. So I'm taking my tape backing off. Make sure my measuring is correct and attach my strap piece. Next, I need to attach my pocket. Now when I attach my pocket, it's the same way with I did to the cover. I want to make sure that when this closes, it doesn't catch on anything. So I'm not going to butt it right up against that score line. So I'm going to just move it just a hair above it. Not much. It doesn't need much. And then of course you want it even on both sides. So it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. Alright. And then our tag will slide right on in there. And then our strap. Ta-da! Alright. Need to... so I only needed to punch 2 corners. The other 2 are hidden. And let me go ahead and add... Hoping I have enough ATG for this piece. I'm about to run out. Perfect. Alright, so this is going to slide into the pocket. Oh, let me get on camera. 1/8 inch border. There we go. Then our tag gets slid into the pocket. Strap to hold it in, and I need my other tag. That is how you do it. Alright, now we have all these other ones to work on. And my tags to mat. So I'm going to work on matting the rest of these, and then come back and got to mat our tags, and then attach everything to our albums, and then decorate. Alright. Alright, we have 1 page that is a page layout, 2, 1 for each side. So I have already cut my pieces out, and I need to punch them and ink them. Oh, wrong side. So that's how it's going to look. So we're going to use our stub punch to punch all the corners. On all the pieces, and then ink everything. Alright, I have everything as inked. I'm going to get my ATG. So my 2 mats are going to have the 1/8 inch border. And of course you don't have to do 2 mats. You can do a full size mat or a partial mat, or you can even just do another page if you want. Alright, then we're going to do our blue pieces, our accent strips. I'm gonna make sure this is even. Oops. Nope. Nope. Alright, I said I don't want to eyeball it because I have to do 2 of them. If I eyeball one of them, it's fine, but when I have to have 2 of them match, it's easier for me to just okay. Putting tape on the other piece. Oops, that was loud. This middle piece didn't need to have the punched corners. It looks good. It'll work. Okay. And there's our little layout page. Alright, next are our tags that we have in the album. So we're going to cut, punch stub corners, ink them, and attach them. And so we have the tag for our accordion flap pocket, and then our tag for our just a regular pocket. So again, these are just pretty simple. Punch the corners, which are optional. Then I'm inking with the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. And this is going to be centered on the tag with a 1/8 inch border. And that's our tags. Okay, the next piece we're going to work on is the accordion on the back. So we have our 2 pieces of cardstock, and it's scored in 2 places. So we have it scored at a 1/2 inch line, and that's for our tab, and then in the middle to give us 4 flaps for our accordion. So we're going to fold on the middle score line. And then score on our 1/2 inch score line going the other direction. So it's in our Z shape. Then we're going to go ahead and taper our corners. Add our tape. then repeat for our second piece. So again, we did our Z fold, and then taper our corners. Add our tape. And then we're going to attach them together. So we want it into accordion. So when we attach it, so this will be what's going to attach to the back wall of our album. So we're going to want to attach our tab to our flap. So when we pull it, it'll pull out. Okay, for our accordion. So remove the tape, and then we're just going to line it with the score line. Sit it right in front of it, not over it, and attach flush to the top and bottom. And that's our accordion piece. Okay, then what we have is our mats. And what we're going to do with those is like we did, just as we did our tags, is we're just going to take one, punch our corners. This is our stub punch. Ink our edges. Again, this is Tim Holtz Distress Ink Oxide, and I'm using Vintage Photo. I'm going to take our ATG and just attach, having a 1/8 inch border, and we're going to do that to all of our pieces. And then that's it. And then we need to attach to our back wall. Oh. So we'll punch and ink, and then we will attach. Oops, don't grab. Okay, so we're going to attach for a 1/8 inch border. Alright. And just mat the rest of it. Alright, so we're going to attach the, sorry about that, the back piece inside cover, and then we're going to attach our pages. So I've already cut this and inked it, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape backing, and then I'm going to go ahead and also put extra adhesive on here using the ATG. And we're going to attach it so it has a 1/8 inch border from the score line, or from the gap areas. So we got two pieces. We have our main page that we're going to attach. And then we have our small accordion that we're going to attach for under. So we're going to attach the big one first. Centered. It looks like about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I'm not sure if we want to. I think we can eyeball it because it's just one tab. Removing my tape backing. And I'm going to go about 1/4. Oh, it slid. It slid. I was only just going to take off half, but I think I'm just going to take off the whole thing and then attach it again. Alright, so 1/4. That looks even. That looks even. Alright, so you can see my gap here and then my gap there. So then I'm going to take my foam folder, make sure it's attached. Now we're going to go ahead and attach a piece to cover this. But right now we're just going to get our pieces in. Alright, and then we're going to attach our other guy. Alright, for our second piece we're going to measure it. So our first one we just eyeballed, so it's 1/4 of an inch top, bottom, and side. So for this guy, we're going to attach 1/2 an inch. So it's in further and it gets covered by this one. So I'm going to move this guy out. And I'm going to measure with my ruler 1/2 an inch. And then attach this guy evenly. So he's 1/2 an inch from the top and the bottom. Perfect. Alright, next we're going to work on the little booklet that goes on the inside front cover. So you have two pieces of paper from the collection. One has this Tropical Travelogue front cover of a book, and then the other has these little card pieces. So what I did was I cut them out so there's two together on each one, and then we're going to trim the corners, and then that middle piece right there that's dark, because we want these all to be curved. So it's going to look like this guy. So it's all curved and then scored. So we're going to take our 1/4 corner rounder. This is Crocodile from We Are Memory Keepers. And we'll just punch the corners. And then on the middle pieces, we're just going to cut them with our scissors. then we're going to score. Right where this line is, and that looks like it's going to be, I'm going to have to move it to make it on the line. So just move your piece to a score line that you can use. And then when we fold it, just in case it's not quite even, we're going to line up both of the edges. I'm going to make sure the edges are lined up. And we're going to take our foam folder. And there we go. And do that for all 4 pieces. And then we have our hinge pieces. And these are 1 inch thick, and you just score them in half. I'm going to fold and then add. So connecting 2 pages together, we'll put our tape on the hinge. I put it flush to the edge, not towards the score line. So when they get connected, we'll have the hinge piece on the inside, attach the page together, and then we're going to add our second page to our hinge, attach our page together. So let's keep it going. Got 2 more pieces, and then for the back side, I have a black piece of cardstock. This is so I can hide my hinge. So when I get my hinge on there, I'm going to cover it with the cardstock. And then our last page is also going to be a piece of cardstock. So 2 of these corners need to be rounded. And that's going to be our book. So this will be our front cover, and then our back cover is just going to be a piece of cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to finish up all 5 of these guys and then trim these. Alright, so one of your hinges is going to have 1 piece of tape on the other side. So this piece is going to get attached to your front cover first. I'm going to grab my ruler so I can make sure it is going to be attached evenly. Alright, I was just checking before I attach. And it keeps moving. Alright. I'm going to need to add my tape to my front cover piece. That should be enough. Okay. I'm going to add a little extra adhesive using my ATG. I'm going to turn this so I can have the back side flush to the back side of my piece. And my piece of cardstock is just a little shorter, a little bit smaller than my cover. And then, before you attach these, I ink them with Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. Happens to be my favorite. It's just the right brown color. So we're gonna line that up evenly and then attach. So I'm gonna use my ruler to make sure that I am even. Okay. Alright, now we're going to add tape to the inside of that. We're going to grab our next hinge before I add my tape, and we're going to line our hinge up with our other hinge and then attach our piece. Again, I'm going to line it up. Which is hard to do because it's sticky. So that's not going to work. I'm just going to have to eyeball and line it up best I can. Yeah, hey, that worked. Okay, and then add our tape. Now, if you wanted to, you can make these into top-loading pockets and just do a U shape and then attach it, and then you'd have a top pocket. That's only if you wanted to do it that way. Just making sure that it's lining up top to bottom with each other. There's our first page. Then we will connect our next piece. Yeah, that'll work. right along. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and attach the other 2 pages, and then we'll do the back cover. Alright, we attach slowly, making sure that the top and bottoms are lined up equally. Alright, 2 more pages. Alright, lastly we have our back cover to attach. So I already got my other pages in there. So this one, we're going to just eyeball the best we can, lining it up with the inside cover on the front. Okay, perfect. Cute. Alright, then we're going to add some twine. That's going to be our closure. So I got this white and gold twine I thought would be perfect. So I don't know how much twine. I'm just judging because this book will be, the back will be attached to the inside cover, and want to attach our twine to the back first. It's not bad. It's kind of cute. Okay. Just figuring out where that is, and I'm going to tape it down. Okay. Adding tape to attach to our inside cover. Alright, and we are done with the book. Okay, so I wanted just to go over all the pages with you so you can see how I matted and decorated all of them, and how I did the tags. So I know you're very familiar with the first page, but I'm going to go ahead and show you again. And then I put a tiki mask at the front with a flower and the leaves. So there's some stickers in the collection. I just put them in some extra spots. Added some stickers on the strap here, and then the chipboard piece, and then there's a nice chipboard embellishment on the layout page where you can add pictures. And we got some more stickers and more chipboard. So I just wanted to show you how I matted everything, so you can get some ideas yourself. And then the next side, we got these beautiful greens and pinks. And more flowers. I tried to add as many flowers as I could. I loved the flower die. And then another matte area where you can add your photos. Oh, pulls out. And another pocket tag. Well, we're getting there. And then this cute little accordion, and then this big area so you can have some pictures in there as well. And this accordion is perfect for 4x6 pictures. So that's the whole album. That's how I matted. All the pictures for the album are in the tutorial as well, so you can take a look at that. And that's how you make the Deluxe Accordion Mini Album. Thank you for watching.